Hello everyone, I'm making this video here to spread a message of something called universal law, which is a concept and an idea that I figured out, let's say, from thinking. And it revolves around the globe and our planet, and it revolves around human rights. In the current state of our planet, and for some time, we've had society on Earth. And society is divided into nations on different regions of the globe. And the people of those nations or regions get passports. And those passports are supposed to then make them members of society, because they're members of the nation. And so those passports are supposed to take people into society. The purpose of being part of society is that you'll earn an income in either high, medium, or low, in either the highly, medium, or low category. And that's why we have laws. Laws are there to protect society so that it functions and so that people can go and earn these income levels. That's the concept of society upon this earth, and that's why society is continuously being constructed on this earth, and can continuously be constructed on this earth, and was created as an idea upon this earth. Because this earth belongs to all the people on who lives on it, on this planet. So it's in accordance of constructing society and having people construct it by being part of society, having passports and earning incomes in these three categories. And so a growing problem on our globe is that we have two populations on the globe. It's the population who are members of nations and society, because they earn an income in one of three categories. And then there are the people who are only members of the land and ground of Earth here. That's because they don't earn an income in any of the three categories, because their right to that income was fooled away from them through fraud. And so they have to live and abide by the rules and the realities of being members of the land and the ground, either by recycling cans, begging for money, or picking apples, or living from criminality. And these are just unstoppable consequences of having your citizenship, because that's what it is. Having your citizenship illegally revoked and becoming a member of the land and the ground of the earth here. Because the accordance of any functioning nation on this globe is that the passport is supposed to make people part of society, of a nation, and that owes that nation and that society social security responsibility for every person of that region. And what happens when nations and governments fool away these rights, because that's what's happening, it's fraud, is that they give away the responsibility. They cancel their responsibility for social security and safety of some members of the population, which is discrimination. It's discrimination. And what then happens is that they have to live by these means, which are not taxable. You cannot live by any of these means and tax that income, because you cannot basically earn a low income in society by any of these methods. Criminality cannot earn a taxable income in society. Of course, there are ways around, but not legal ways. And you cannot earn income by picking apples, and you cannot earn income by recycling cans, nor beg. That is taxable and will grant you a low income in the idea of society. So that creates that problem which is happening on this globe at the moment. And like I said, it's discrimination. They are fooling away the rights of people based on well, the best that you could motivate it like, which is from the state and government's point of view, which they are not, of course, openly acknowledging. They are not openly acknowledging that they are inactivating passports. That's something that is happening through fraud and through, well, let's call it pretense, pretended ignorance. Through either that people don't get their social benefits, like social welfare and so on. But either way, or they don't get jobs. But so the discrimination is at best motivated as IQ quota discrimination, meaning if people are not intelligent enough, they are no longer allowed to be part of society, which, however you look at it, is discrimination. It's one of the worst types of discrimination historically, actually. So that's what's happening on this planet at the moment, and that's the problem that is arising on this planet. Criminality is a consequence of governments illegally inactivating passports. That's what criminality is. And if you start opening up, if we start opening up our mind towards that, then we also realize that it's not criminality, because in a sense it's a huge fraud, because the governments are not allowed to just decline their responsibility. It's a responsibility over the social security contract of some members of their society, and then make them members of the land and the ground. Because what they are also doing is that they're illegally selling those contracts to criminal networks. That's what the governments are doing. Or at least, they're saying, hey, we don't want these people, you can have them. And when those people go to the social welfare offices and want to have their right, it's a planetary right of a basic human income. That's what social welfare is. That's why this society can exist on the globe. Is everybody's right to be part of society. And so what I was saying was that the governments are basically forcing people into modern slavery by discriminating some people's membership of their nation, which is illegal. It's not possible. That's why there is no nation. There are no nations that admits that they are inactivating passports, but it's what they are doing. Because if people don't have an income in any of these three categories, which is a direct consequence of the governments, then they are not part of the nation. They're not part of the society. They are only part of the land and the ground, because they live off the land and the ground. And it's illegal. And foremost, it's illegal from the concept of universal law, which mandates that society can only exist upon this globe under the pretense that all the members of this globe have a right to be part of society, and that's why they have social welfare and so on the different nations and societies on this globe. They have social welfare because they have to have social welfare in order to be considered a nation. And what they then do is that they fool away this right to the social welfare in different ways by making it complicated and so on. And that's what their view is, that it's IQ-based quota. You know, they won't call it discrimination, of course, but they'll just say that, you know, people didn't claim their right for their social welfare, for their basic human income, which is a right in order for this thing to happen, because it's not legal to take away citizenships and just simply inactivate them through fraud. That's why no nation acknowledges that that's what they're doing, but that is what they're doing. And the crude reality of how we can see that is because there is criminality and people living off the land and ground, who have had their citizenship illegally inactivated. So that was all of this. I don't want to make it much more complicated than this. I can make an hour-long video about this, but I want to try to keep it short so that it's simple. And this is what's right, and this is truth. And well, I don't need to claim those two things, but I think that any reasonable person, no, I don't even need to claim that, but I think that this is reasonable, in my opinion at least. So that was all. Thank you for listening, and have a good